Hello, and welcome to the Legendarium Green Team. I'm Jingles 90, and with me today are Little Red Book, Chesky,
Hey.
and Texas Blade.
Hey,
Today we're discussing Book 6 of the Alex Verus series Veiled by Benedict Jacka. Um, how do we want to start this? Do we want to go into the funny stuff now? Because I think there's some more serious talk on the way.
There's always some good funny going on here.
Yeah.
the
I'll say that just for funniness, the banter between the characters, between Annie and Alex, but Alex and anybody basically is just off the top. He's just hilarious. I had a couple things marked, but I don't know if I went into them right away. But they were just hilarious. Just Annie giving Alex crap, like, well, you seem to get injured a lot, but like, but you're all better, so get up off the couch and quit being lazy. Well, you just got air bladed, and she's like, you're fine. Your life site takes the fun out of everything. Like,
well, and the conversation that he has with, when the th uh, Annie, Anna, and oh my gosh, I'm blanking on his name, and
him?
Luna, and they're like, "You didn't take your armor?
Yeah.
Like, what's the point?" But I do always love the store scenes, and the woman who is insisting that she is the reincarnation of Cleopatra. He's like,
That's that
"It's so."
actually that those store scenes I actually have something more serious to say about them later.
Oh, yeah, I do too,
Oh,
but
yeah.
no, your wife is not cheating on you. I am not a private detective. Just, like, those kind of conversations that he has with his guests, his customers, are
Mhm.
fun.
I noticed that we were blatantly taunted twice with the fact that we are never told exactly his age. Like, it's just completely blatant and twice.
It
Yeah.
is. He's always willing to
It's
bring
like
up Luna's
it's just
age.
kind of off on the side on all the other ones, and this one he's asked twice.
Never asking Alex Verus
So I
about
took
his
that
age,
personally.
right?
Tell you what your age is. Then will you think I don't have a concussion?
That's funny.
Yeah.
His banter with Slate too is pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did enjoy that. I did kinda all of the, good cop, bad cop stuff that he did in this book is pretty fun.
Mm.
Um, I also really liked, it's a more serious moment, but some of the stuff with him and, Caldera, some of the stuff with her was actually pretty fun. I like the, detective duo of the 2. She's very clearly the straight edge on that,
Yeah.
but it's still fun. I don't know.
I
Well,
It's about all I really like out of her from this book.
I'm gonna
So
I
say I'll say it that Caldera, I know I've probably been saying it for multiple books, but like this is one of the ones where you kind of see who Caldera is underneath and that she's not really sounds mean when I say this, but it's not like Alex. Alex, since we're from his point of view, we can see that he is really operating for like the greater good. He wants to operate to help. Caldera, she wants to help people, but only
By the
according
book.
to the rules, and she has no understanding or like desire to understand that the laws suck. Yeah,
yeah,
that the laws are not they're fine for mages. They suck for everybody else. And she acknowledges it, but she doesn't care enough. She doesn't
yeah,
choose to like say, you know what, you are right, and she's I was
I mean, what I would say to that is that to a certain extent, she does have a point. That it's important to operate within the rules. You can't just go off half cocked. Like I do think that the book has a genuine tension between the two points of view.
I agree. I agree. You don't want to go, like, do an illegal like search and seizure or whatever, like things like that, or going in and just, trying to cause a fight with Torvald. Let's use him as an example since the first example we get, right? The
yeah,
electric mage goes in, causes havoc. Oh, if he just hides for a month, he's fine. You know what I mean? But like, yeah, maybe we should actually, do we want to cause a fight and kill people or hurt, get hurt ourselves? That's not Alex's intention. Say we have to go in and do it, but like, right straight from his mouth, he says, "What does the adept take from that situation? What do they
Mhm.
see? They see,
mhm,
oh, a mage did something bad. Nobody cares because it was against adept. I do something against a mage. Everybody cares. There's
Yep.
that switch. And he's saying we need to follow through. We need to like actually affect change with these cases. Whereas Caldera's like, I closed the book. I closed the case. Torvald did something bad. If I see him, I'll get him before, we'll talk to him about it and tell him not to do it again. If he does it again, nothing happened. You know what I mean? But it's brought up multiple times in this book that the council only cares about the people who the council like.
To the point of Caldera just kind of going by the book, there was a segment in this story where someone points out to Verus that Caldera hasn't moved from her position in a long time. And it's very strongly indicated that it's because she doesn't bend the rules for a lot of other people who she shouldn't be bending them for anyway. So, on some level, I do understand Caldera's need to stay by the book because it's the only way that she gets to function. Like, no one can really get mad at her for doing what's done by the book, right? It's the one way that she can secure herself in the ability to do good.
The only pushback I have is that she's not willing to do favors and bend rules for other people, but she's also not willing to push the problem.
Right.
She sees
Yeah.
Torvald as a problem. She knows he's a problem, but she's not willing to push it and go against it. She is 100%.
Or even hear them.
Yeah, or even hear the problems. She is 100% happy to live in the system and not worry about it. She sees that it's hurting others. She sees that things are going wrong, but she's totally like, it's fine. Like, versus Alex, who's saying like the system needs to.
She's
change.
idealistic.
She could be idealistic or just doesn't care.
Well, she's
about it.
idealistic and stubbornly so, I guess. She had her idea of how things are, and she's not going to listen to anything that goes in any other direction.
Very stubborn.
So one thing that I would say about her, she has this conversation with Alex about when they're closing a case. And she's like, "What did you want? A parade? Like, we're just gonna and as somebody who was married to a cop for a while, like, it really is like that. You have so many things inundating you, so many things coming at you all the time, is that you really only have so much, brain space for it." And she's like, "We just got to move on because there's like, we're not gonna figure this out, like, whatever." I mean, I have 3 abandoned cars in front of my house that have been there for 6 months, and the police still haven't come out and put a green sticker on them so they can get towed.
Right.
It's just like, there's just so much that,
Well,
you sometimes you just gotta move on.
let's focus back a little bit from Caldera then and just say her problems are almost directly indicative of the Light Council problem. The Light Council, light mages in general, don't care, and they're more than happy to deal with with dark mages as long as it's on their term. As long as they don't actively see it happening, they're willing to say, "Oh, sure, black dark mages are evil and scary, but this guy, I haven't ever seen him do anything evil. He's told me that he did evil stuff, and like other people told me that, but I didn't see it, so it's okay. He's a chill guy." I mean, sure, they put effort into hunting down black mages or dark mages, but it doesn't actually feel like they are willing to go to the bat against them until
No,
it's too late.
so this is my whole problem too with the White Council or the Light Council or whatever it is. They are only about them, and then they treat people like adepts. Like, they don't care when stuff like that happen, bad things happen to them. They don't care when normals have bad things happen to them unless it directly hurts their own interests. And so, the Dark Council or Dark Mages can do whatever. They can enslave people. They can run horrible brothels. That
Yeah.
Well, here's a helpful tip for all those light mage listeners out there. Just don't do messed up things that you need a secret brothel for, and you know what? Everything will turn out okay, and you don't have to bend to blackmail. It's surprising.
It's
Don't
weird
do
how that
blackmailable
works.
things.
Lots of people go through life without getting blackmail
Don't
or
go
doing
into
blackmailable things,
yeah.
and they
Don't do
live just
snuff
happy
work.
lives.
Don't get called out on it later. Eventually, like
it infuriates me. It just makes me so angry. And again, like I've said on many occasions, maybe what the Light Council should do is mentor the up and coming mages and the adepts and whatnot, so that the dark mages won't have people to take advantage of. Like, maybe just step up your game and teach these people. It's just
oh, Red. That requires effort. And you
ugh.
don't get to the top of the Light Council through effort for other people. You get to the top of the Light Council through most of them.
Blackmail.
How many
backstabbing and trading and training in favor and pushing yourself up.
just how many problems would they solve if they just put some effort into it? I'm just saying.
But if they ignore the problems, it all goes away, or
Yeah.
it seems to be gone, and it's
Whatever.
easier.
Yeah.
One thing I thought was an interesting point, though, is getting to where my notes end. With the Levistus, kind of sets up a situation where it's like it's like choose the lesser of two evils, which is obviously me, which is an interesting conundrum, because what do you do when you have to choose between lesser of two evils?
I think the first clue is you have to know who the true lesser of two evils is.
All right. So before we get any further, let's go ahead and get a summary in here and then jump into spoilers. So the times they are a changing. Winter has hit the UK, and Alex and Co. are performing intel gathering missions on Richard for Talisid. Luna has passed Alex's skill and needs someone actually trained in luck magic to help her move forward, and even Alex is a little uncertain what he wants to do next. So he joins the Order under Caldera's tutelage. As the months pass, Alex will come to understand the bureaucracy of the Light Mages a little more, will come up against Levistus once more. There's an opening on the council, one that can be filled by Morden or Levistus's puppet, and Alex finds himself in a position to indirectly choose which one gets the spot. Espionage becomes the name of the game as Alex hunts moles and becomes a key figure in dismantling a sex slavery ring of dark mages, one which has gathered a lot of interesting information about its light mage clientele. In the end, Morden is given a spot on the council and things are set in motion that cannot be undone. Yeah,
Yep.
this is a dark book.
It is.
There's
It's like that's
Um,
pretty much what it is. Yeah, that's
yeah.
you called it.
So yeah, just to be aware, we're going to be talking about some dark stuff, folks. There's kids
Yeah.
dying in this and worse. So
Kind of a trigger warning, I would say.
yeah, yeah,
This is
definitely.
not a family-friendly book.
No.
But I mean, I don't. It's got a darker subject matter, but I still think he handles it well. One thing I've really liked about this book is kind of once you get into not the suspense, but like the tension in the book kind of stays at this kind of almost slightly amped up level. And or the pacing. The pacing just keeps consistent pacing, and you just keep going, and you have to keep going, and things keep happening. And it was nice.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the things I appreciate about this book, not really happy about it, but appreciate it, is that consequences matter in this, as far as I know. So, like I said, there is a child in this who is from this ring, and the whole goal, once they find him, is to kind of keep him safe. And Alex messes that up, and as far as I know, that kid's now dead. So, um, it was, like I said, a lot of darker decisions made in this one, but I think also just seeing that Alex's actions are not always perfect, that sometimes he does make bad mistakes. Um, it was good to see.
I'm gonna say, I really don't. He was faced with an either or decision,
Yeah.
and he didn't save the kid because once the kid went out in the street, he was gonna already be dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, Alex
And
couldn't have done anything.
yeah,
he
that's
chose the thing that he actually could have altered, because he is not a battle mage. He can only see what's coming. He can't do much about it. So, and he was being covered, or there was someone out there that he could not have done anything to save the kid. He could have rushed out there, probably died himself, and the kid still gets taken, or he could stayed in and did what he did. So I don't know if there wasn't much of a choice. It was go for sure failure or do something you can actually and maybe be able to do. So the
Right. But
only thing he could have done is before the kid got out. Maybe.
Right. Well, I guess what I'm getting at is there's a fallibility to what he is doing
Yeah.
and how he's doing it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not a straightforward.
He's not
I can
perfect.
I can see the future, and therefore everything's going to work out in my favor.
And I think
Situation.
it's good to show that out with Alex, because we've seen him get out of a lot of crazy scrapes and things before, and to show as good as he is, he's pretty good. He's still not able. And this one, it's just so much secreting on. It's not. It was a really tough situation for him. I mean, does he trust this person? Does he go with this person? He's inside the bureaucracy, but he's still an outsider inside of it. And so, what he says is like, oh, are they going to trust me? Are they actually going to follow through? Will they have my back? Or are these people, secretly going here and getting this and they want to stop me because they don't want it to get out? You know what I mean? It's all a bluff because nobody can hack the thing. But like to them, they're like, this is, so it just creates that unease for him. Like, what do I do? Who can I actually and be safe?
Yeah.
Well, and we all know who he put the stone with, right? It was Arachne, which was smart on his part.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, for one point, and then he took it back after he pawned off the duplicate. Yeah, but he did technically have it, I think.
I
after
did.
a while.
Well, he had it. After they
Either that, or he just
realized.
taunted everyone while they were in Arachnes and then left it again back at Arachnes. He made it sound like he took it back, but maybe he was just flaunting it.
No, I think he had a fake. The first time he gave it to
Yeah.
Arachne, it stayed with Arachne until he took it back to actually
Yeah.
use it. Everyone else was seeing the fake one, which
Yeah.
I'm forgetting. I'm forgetting that detective's name at the time right now. But I really like how Jacka wrote all of those sequences because he never once said something like, "Oh, I don't trust this guy, so I'm going to give him a fake one." He just like nudged the idea that Alex had doubts, right?
Yeah.
didn't do anything unsubtle about it to make it super obvious to the reader, which I appreciated.
Are you thinking about Rain or Hakon?
Hakon, I think.
Yeah.
That was the one who was working for Levistus, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Pretty sure.
Yeah. So this is kind of off topic of what we're talking about right now, but I have a question. So why is he being an auxiliary for the Order of the Star, which is the detective who monitor the magic world? I think he would be a much better fit for the Order of the Cloak because they are the people that interact with the normal world.
I think the Star's the only one that he has an in on, and the Cloak don't seem very trusting.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying he has like his whole shop is interface with normal people. So it seems like that.
His whole shop is interfaced with other people, but in my read it, I feel like the Order of the Cloak is more about they're more the secret. They're the ones that would go in and obliviate people's memory, and just say like that. Well, that's the
That's
feeling you
fair.
get. They're
No,
the
it
ones
is.
who do the press
Yeah.
releases. They're the ones who go in to the cop stations and say delete that footage or this isn't what you think it is. They're not solving crimes. They're not they're helping the magic community stay hidden, but they're not like I just don't see Alex being like he'd be good at talking to people. He'd be good at doing stuff.
He's the Dresden, the wizard in the phone book of
Yeah.
this story, which is they probably are shaking their heads about it. It's like, you're not too much of a trouble for us, but we have our eye on you, kind of thing.
But then I think he also, because he's that Darkman, or he's an ex-Darkman, and their biases about it, he has to go to Caldera because that's the only one that will actually say like, you're okay.
It definitely seems like the most active order. I mean, we've really only seen one order work, but it seems the most active. And I don't know, like Alex's personality, I don't think fits well with the Order of the Cloak.
Fair enough.
Like I think if he's going to be in an order, he's going to be in the one where he can actually take actions that
He should have been in the order
move his
of
ideals forward.
He should have been with Landis then. So how do you feel about Landis, Jingles?
Landis.
He's Arian's master.
Fire Mage.
Oh, right. Dude, he's great.
He's the one who's waving a bomb around and just
Yeah.
I forgot to flick the bomb. Throw that away.
He was my. I love that he just pretty much comes into any situation just like, tally ho, what, do all the nonsense accent stuff you possibly could. Although I was getting a lot of British vibes off of that. He's Irish, right? He's from
He's
Dublin.
Scottish.
He's Scottish. Okay.
Here's something I noticed this time reading it. I noticed that this time he actually doesn't trust Caldera.
Nope.
Because as soon as Alex is alone with him, he kind of drops the facade and gives Alex like a real warning, and then puts it right back up. But like that's the first time I really noticed it, and that's reading it again.
Well, he knows Caldera very well.
Yeah, well, he knows that she's not playing games, but she's also not. We said willing to push it, willing to go struggle against it more.
Well, and when Alex tells him that look, I think this is an inside job that we were set up. He believes Alex. He basically tacitly agrees. And then
Mhm.
in that scene where Alex is confronting Caldera, she won't even listen because she just can't believe that her own side.
Or she doesn't want she's got the blinders on. She's just like I
Right.
said, she's got her idealism. Yeah, she's got her ideal, and she's not going to hear anything against it. Or more like she knows it's wrong, but she just doesn't. She's like, I'm going to pretend like it's not, just because I can. And maybe she's like, yeah, she's seen what it does to go against it, and she's like, I want to do to steelman her argument. She's like, I can do a little good as long as I'm here, but if I
Right.
push too hard, I can no longer be here. Is what her thoughts might be if you want to steelman it.
Sure.
Yeah, if you want to, which
I think she's definitely at that point because she seems very content. Well, maybe not content, but very accepting
settled.
of the fact that she's not going to move anywhere else. Right.
Mhm.
It's just this is where she is. And I do like with Landis, like you get to see him. He's actually him as a mentor to Varium is very interesting to watch because he is like they're in action scenes, right? And he is directing Varium how to do things
Yeah.
and kind of showing us exactly why you need someone trained in your magic to teach you that magic. Like we're going to turn our fires into human torches and we're going to run around and blow things up and know exactly which points we both need to take on. And watching that strategy is really cool. And then seeing also someone that Varium like actively is okay with trusting outside of the circle is also really cool.
Yeah. Well, this is just so funny, even in those scenes where he's like, "All right, this is how we're gonna do it." And then he does it, but he does it crazy, and everybody thinks he's insane still at the whole time he's doing it because he just because of the way he talks and makes it sound. He's just like it's funny the whole time. He's always
he's the
plus.
best.
But like you're not going to get that with Caldera. Like she's just so adamantly not interested. I think she mostly has Alex because he's useful and because she wants to keep an eye on him, right? She trusts him to some extent because she lets him do all this stuff on his own, but she's not nice about it. Like
She says she trusts him, but whether she actually, because she's still got that. We've said it again. She's got that heavy bias. Anybody who works with a dark mage, anybody who's not a mage council, well, let's just bring them in for a couple hours. No, they had a
yeah.
horrible experience the last time. You guys didn't help them. Why would we try and force that on this? It's the same story
Right.
over and over. That's
Well,
just
in yeah, like the idea of even taking the focus and moving it to Arachne's place instead of lockup. Like if he had actually talked to her about that, that would have never flown. That would have been
Oh,
horrible.
heck no.
yeah.
She's all ticked off because he called Landis
Yeah.
to save them. Although, speaking of funny scenes, they're up in the house and Alex says, "Oh, and by the way, the house is on fire." Not to worry you or anything.
Not to worry. The floor is falling out. That was a really cool scene. I really enjoyed that scene. The mantis columns are just
Yeah.
horrifying.
Yeah, that was amazing. I loved it. And then going back to Slate, he's like, "I could just haul you in because you're not really part of the Order of the Star." And he's just like totally baiting Alex, like, "You have to tell me what happened in there." And his response is like, "You kicked it." She's like, "Well, you're not my supervisor. Caldera is. And last time you fought, so you can fight with her about it. But last time you fought with her, she kicked your your
It's so
Yeah.
great.
Sorry, you're gonna have to beep that.
Yeah, it's all right.
I was
We
just
That
always
was a
make it
great line.
funnier.
Here's a thought I was actually just having here. Normally when you have an Alex type person who's working outside the system, I like to think of your Murder of the Weedy show, right?
Mhm.
Eventually they go inside the system and they see, oh, the system is doing, it makes them more sympathetic to the system and to the people, to the cops doing it in charge. When Alex goes in to the keepers, it actually does the opposite. It makes him
Yeah.
even less sympathetic to everybody inside the council. And he's already unsympathetic to everybody, but it's intentional, of course. But like he goes in try and be okay. Well, I get their protection at least a little bit. If I'm on the council, Levistus most likely can't. Or not, if I'm working with them, Levistus most likely won't just be able to sign another death warrant on me. But like it doesn't because Levistus has only tried to kill him like 4 times.
Only,
It's not
only a
like
handful. Yeah.
I'm not foreshadowing anything unseen, right? Like,
The figurative death warrant.
yeah,
Yeah.
the figurative death warrant. But I just was using a turn of phrase. But like Alex is being driven away from the council and from the light mages, basically saying like, no, this is not. It's just an interesting thing. But about mentors, I know she's not in it a ton, but what do you guys think of Chalice?
She helped.
She
Right?
helped.
She
She's
helped.
weird. She's
Yep.
got that secret chance magic. It's
Yeah.
interesting, wasn't it?
That was so weird. It's like I have no idea what just happened, but it's luck magic, so obviously this works. Like
Yeah.
whatever it is.
I love that she's like, "Oh, you just got home? How lucky!" Like, and Alex is like, "Yeah, whatever. Like, you're lucky. It is what it is. Like, get in here and let's talk."
What did she do with the paper? She just like write some stuff down. Yeah, you should probably go there. Like,
Yeah.
didn't even like interact with him at all. Just looked at it and was like,
Yeah, I have it up here. She's like, think about what you're looking for and draw something on this paper. So he draws it, and then she looks at it. She scribbles something on it, and it's like, what's there? I don't know. I just wrote down like what. I just wrote down
She
what
did
the magic
like
said.
2 or 3 lines
Yeah.
to add to his, and it suddenly becomes something meaningful. Yeah,
Yeah.
very interesting.
I said there was that scene where he gets blinded and he has the stone and he's trying to get away. How cool is it that he uses his divination magic to navigate
Yeah.
a space while blinded? That was amazing.
I run that far, I'll run into a wall. Don't do that.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
And just a little bit of a scary death magic in this one.
Just a little bit.
Just a hint. Just a very powerful death user.
Or no, Slate's life, right? No,
No, he's death.
He's
Yeah.
death.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I guess death is kinetic and negative energy. So
yeah.
Yes.
And then we do, I guess, get our first illusionist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's a bad guy. Go figure. Can never trust an illusionist.
Hiding.
I still need to read the stuff about the different types of mages, but I assume it's personality oriented. That's what picks your type and stuff like that. Which we do get a little drop that apparently mages can change their element. Landis kind of drops that.
I didn't catch that.
I missed that.
It's an offhanded thing. He's like, "Oh yeah, too bad we don't have a water mage because they're playing with the bomb. He's playing with the bomb. He's like, too bad we don't have the water mage to make sure things aren't set off." And asks Caldera, "You're not happening to change your elements or anything, are you?" So maybe it's probably it could be a very rare thing, maybe, but so which would make it even more of a joke. I
just thought
guess,
it was a joke. Like, I didn't think he was serious.
I know there are twin magic types though, so I don't know. That might be in the things, or that might be something to ask.
I don't know. I haven't read it like fully. There's a lot of different ways, and everybody
second power, right?
Magic, yeah, because everybody has ice. There's multiple people have ice or have water or have life, but it's very presents super differently in every.
Yeah.
Another point in the favor of the.
No.
Right. The part where he's talking about Achilles' heel myths and how every culture has one, like hair and like Samson's hair and whatever. And he's like, just don't tell them what your Achilles' heel is. Just don't tell them. Like,
little lesson, everybody.
Or lie. Yes, my Achilles elbow. It's very weird. I mean,
basically, that's what Samson did for a long time. That's what it teaches you not to get in a toxic relationship, or when it looks like someone's tried to betray you multiple times. Maybe that's a thing that you shouldn't trust them.
Well, and it worked for Samson until he told the truth. Like, he was fine. It was not a big deal.
Well, I mean, everyone knew he was lying, but if he had just left while he was ahead.
It's like, tie me with new ropes. And then all of a sudden the people burst in.
Yeah.
It's just like, come on, dude. Anyway.
It's like, who's more stupid? Samson for continuing to actually giving it up, or those people for actually trusting every single time?
I feel like the
Um,
first time that's okay to trust. We got a secret,
Yeah.
but I mean, I guess they must have
Second
been
and
really
third
desperate,
time,
but
it was 4 times, I think. Man, I just went.
I don't know.
I
I
can't.
don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know why
Welcome
you just
to
keep.
the
I mean,
Bible with
yeah,
the
repetition.
legendary.
How about you just don't tell people your things like, oh, Alex, my divination powers are gone when I'm faced with weird, really, really dumb people. Let's bring in the dumbest person we can find out the street here. Aha, I tricked you. That makes it
Gotcha.
easier for me.
um. So now we're gonna go really dark.
Okay,
The
Okay.
scene where
bring it down, Red. Bring it down.
the part of the the part of the book where they go into White Rose's main place,
Uh, yeah.
and the very first room they enter, and you find out that like White Roses will body sculpt people and mess with their brains so that they think they're the pop star that you have a fetish for, that kind of stuff. The first room they go into is this little girl, and she's in a a like a pink, really very girly room with like stuffed animals and whatnot. Alex walks in first, and she looks at him and says, "Are you my daddy?" And that is, I think, probably the most chilling scene in the book, because you know that she's been brainwashed for guys who want to have sex with their dad or their daughters. It's just, oh my
Oh,
God, it
yeah.
was so upsetting.
Yeah.
There's a lot of creepy, gross. I mean, I block it out a little bit, but so I remember he just moves past it. Jeez, it's harsh seeing the unders of what they were
I
doing.
think that's the only one they really go in detail on.
Yeah.
But says there's worse, which I guess is a blessing that, or just makes it easy on him. He's like, I don't even want to think about what worse things could happen, but I know there could be worse. So this is as far dark as I want to go. And I'm just gonna say it gets worse.
Right.
This is bad enough, right? You're happy with this bad enough, right? So let's move on.
Well,
Yeah.
it's just, I guess that in the dark way, it goes back to that same thing we've been saying about everybody knows about White. You
Hmm.
know,
Right.
a lot of influential people have gone there. There's no, it's not like, it would be different if it was just a brothel, right? But it's a super creepy brothel, like Red was saying, where they brainwash you and sculpt people. Like there's levels of kind of evilness there, and they're kind of definitely operating really low. But like nobody's willing to put it out there until the data storage comes up. Okay,
Yeah.
I mean, I just think that says volumes in and of itself. That like, they're willing to allow it to exist. It's not hurting anybody except for poor common and non-magic.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, that's what the thing that gets me the most about that whole sequence at the end, and Jacko really digs the knife in. So he shows that girl again, and she like can barely register that she's even been saved. Like she just doesn't understand what's happening. And I can't remember his name. The water mage that is Slate's partner, I think, is the one talking to Verus at that point. And
Is it Trosk?
Trosk, yeah. And they just come to the conclusion that both of them together kind of come to the conclusion like we did a little good, but it wasn't for good. It was out of convenience. Like just a total mess.
Yeah.
So the other thing I like about that scene as they're leaving the brothel is that Slate's personality is kind of redeemed because of the way he takes that little girl under the arm and like helps her
Yeah.
move on. And I just thought that it's like, yeah, he's kind of a jerk, but also this little girl touched him in such a way that he was like, I need to protect this little girl because some keeper is being mean and like trying to yank her
Or
away.
security guard, I think it was.
Yeah, or something. I
Yeah.
don't remember, but just you can tell that and even in the first scene, he wanted to rescue her right away. He didn't even want to finish the mission. He was like, I just got to save this girl.
Yeah, I do like that we finally got a couple characters that are just total buttholes that are somewhat redeemable in this series.
Right.
like, like there are so many like up until this point, a lot of just the bad people have just straight up been bad people. But some jerks are on the side of good. They might be flawed, but their morals are there in the right place most of the time.
I mean, sometimes you just need a jerk to do something. Like
Yep.
you need that kind of you need kind of a wrecking balls type of person sometimes.
Yeah.
In different circumstances, the jerk is actually the bell ringer, the person who's like, like it, because if Alex was actually a dark mage that was sleeping in, all these people would be justified in their actions. They're, you know, theoretically, they've had dark mages say, "I'm a good guy now," and then stab them in the back. So they like, there's precedent for their. I'm sure most of them probably have, I mean, like you can presume that Slate is so affected by that girl. Either maybe he has his own daughter, or maybe there was, wasn't able to save a girl that was similar to that. Now he's finally getting a chance to do that. That's a headcanon of why he's so affected by that. But
Or maybe he was abused himself.
oh, that's another one. Yeah.
That's actually
and that
was
would be
my
by a
that's my
black
headcanon.
mage. Uh, and that could have been by a black mage, probably by a black mage. So no wonder he's not going to trust anyone because he knows how they're going to operate.
Well, he even
heck, Alex doesn't trust black mages because he knows how they operate too.
right. Well, he even says, or someone tells him that he has real issues with dark mages. Like that's his thing.
Yeah, he's got to balance that with other things.
Yeah.
Of course, we're never going to see what imbalance looks like in this because that's just not going to happen.
No. Especially now that Morden has taken a seat that was supposed to be at Puppets. I will say I did like the entire I don't know if catch 22 is the right term for this, but kind of the position that Alex is in is sort of a catch 22, right? Like it's a
Choosing
no
the
win
lesser of two
scenario.
evils.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then like ultimately his decision comes down to no, I don't like the brothel. I'm getting rid of the brothel. Like
Yeah.
and then whatever consequence comes out of that, whatever, because I wasn't going to win this regardless in that regard. So time to take the action I can. Which putting Morden in a seat on the council is, I mean, that's pretty crazy. That's a choice, but
But at least he's honest about Morden's honest. I'm a black mage, whereas all the white people are I'm a white mage, I'm good, and I'm gonna support the brothel.
yeah.
So, do you think he made the right choice, Jingles, or do you think he should have given it? I'm just saying, if you take the brothel out of it, and he still had the choice, though, you think he should have gone with Levistus Puppet or with Moradin? Who would you pick again?
That's
It
a
wasn't
hard.
about, you just have that choice.
Well, at that point, what do you have? You have one of two people who have chosen to kill you. Like, I think that's that's not like a great scenario, but all of the brothel and the information that is pivotal in that decision, right? It has to be because it. I don't think you can make a decision. At that point, I think you just keep doing what you're doing and let it play out, regardless. But
So, speaking of the brothel, still, the interesting thing that comes up is that the brothel's clientele are not just mages. They have
right,
very, very wealthy normals who are also involved. So their influence is not just in the magic world, but also in that in the normal world. So that would also be why it would be hard to take down the brothel. It's just like the mob was really hard to take down.
Was?
Yeah, it was. They had I mean, Al Capone didn't get convicted on getting people murdered. He got convicted on tax
I mean, I was assuming
evasion.
there's still a mob out there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and
and
that's why Caldera said, yeah, we've changed it for a minute, but it's not gonna
someone's
it's
gonna
gonna
fill the
come back
void.
in some other form. Yeah. So
I only ask this because I think Levistus has always come at him from the side and from behind, whereas Morden's always been straight up front. I don't like you,
sure.
but I can work with. I don't
Actually,
want you
Morden
guys
likes
to
him a lot.
But like Morden's straightforward about it. If Morden's gonna come in and kill you, you know that Morden's gonna come in and kill you. You know Morden's doing bad things, but he doesn't.
He's
Yeah.
unapologetic about it.
And
even
you
Richard
stay
is
away
kind
from
of the
him.
same way because Richard's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, Richard is 100% the same way, but I would much rather have Morden than Richard because Richard is scary.
oh no, I'm not saying
Richard's
not
horrible.
advocating for Richard on the council. That's not what I'm doing.
Morden is slightly less chaotic on the council, but like
Yeah, I guess it's you weigh your odds, right? You have to decide whether you're going to let Levistus continue to do things at opportune times, or do you let Morden just do them whenever, right? Is that a fair assessment of that? Like, I think that is kind of where it is like Levistus is trying to do this around rules, whereas Morden's not. Morden also probably is to the stage where Richard is, where like Alex is kind of just an ant. I don't know if he necessarily finds
Well, another
Alex all that
He
argument
has
you could
important.
respect.
make is
Yeah.
with a black mage on the council, all the white mages are going to be looking at him and they're going to be against him. Whereas if you keep the white mages in control, they're already happy to ignore you. So if you have to choose between two evils, choose the one that most everyone else is going to be helping you with, as opposed to the one that they're just going to ignore.
Right.
I
Yeah.
would say there's one more thing I want to talk about, and we've touched on it, is the shop scene.
All right. Yeah, I
So,
think Chesky said he had some stuff too.
yeah.
But you go ahead and get us started. What do
So
you
in that scene, he's talking to an adept who has a group of friends, and he's there just to ask advice. And this comes up the other time with the Chinese girl who can read auras of items. He's like, I'm just here to give advice to people who are dealing with it. And they're like, well, what if Mordant gets on the council? What's that going to change for me? And he's like, just come talk to me and I'll help you out as much as I can. And I love that. I love that so much.
Yeah.
I guess the only thing I wanted to add to that is just that, like, Alex being on the ground and in his shop is probably doing more to help the magical community and shape the the future going forward of it than anybody else. You know what I mean? Like, people come to him and he tells them things. What happens when you go to somebody for advice? You start to take on their views and stuff a bit, right? So all
Mhm.
these mages who don't have these strong opinions or don't have these things, they come to Alex. They already don't trust the council. Then they kind of get that from Alex a little bit more. Alex is saying, trust the council, good, because he's trying to have faith in that. But like then he's seeing like, I'll help you out. This is it. But like those Alex being there is doing so much more than any of the keepers. And the keepers do the big things every so often, but in the scale of things, like he is doing so much more. And I love that scene too, where he's like, you've got what, 5 people, maybe 1 or 2 of them you're worried about because they're tempting dark mage targets, but you can't go to the keepers because the keepers will say, he's just got warnings. Let me go talk to the dark mage and tell him, hey, don't go do that bad thing that you're gonna go do. I'm telling you no. And the dark mage will be like, oh, of course, I would never do doing the they do it on the side in the background. You know what I mean? Like they're just like, but him being there is almost more important than any of the other stuff that's like actually happening, right? Because he is changing things on that small level, which builds it.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. What are some things that are left on the floor at the end of this book? We already kind of talked about it a little bit, but I do enjoy the way that this book starts, kind of in media res, where we have like Alex's crew is still working on the Richard stuff, but and it's getting more dangerous, right? Like Varium's injured by this point. And we don't actually get any progress on that story arc as far as like exactly what Richard's doing in this
Except for
book,
the
right?
end. There's the little
Well,
whisper.
yeah, but I mean the biggest thing here through this entire book, which was interesting, was it was getting Morden into that seat.
Oh, I guess there's also at the end, there's a very clear, or to me, it seemed like a very clear lifting from Wheel of Time for that uh, becoming part of the council thing, that the lines, which for all I know, Wheel of Time, I know he borrowed from different ones, but there's all like I'm being called and I'm coming to
Yeah,
it reminds me of the Amerlin seats being raised.
yeah, it seems like a
um
pretty traditional knighthood kind of
oh,
performance.
I guess, I mean, I wouldn't know, but I will trust it. I could see it.
So I guess Jingles, is this book a win for Varys, or does he succeed, or is
The
this?
smallest win.
Because
I
I'm
think
sure
it
you liked the book, but I mean, just looking at it from Alex's story arc here, is this a win for him or a fail? Yeah, it's tiny
yeah.
win.
It's
Yeah.
the tiniest of wins. I mean, I think this is the book where I felt Alex kind of maybe feeling a little more nihilistic isn't the right word, but kind of apathetic to the whole deal. Like, just kind of starting to understand that he really, like you said, the little things that he does in the shop are doing more than the things that he's doing on the in the bigger swings, right? It's just like it feels like no progress was made this book, but there was tons of progress made, just in directions that don't benefit Alex in any way. So
I did
yeah.
notice one more good hint at what's coming. Spence there.
Oh, okay.
A little bit. This is not even a big hint. But
Yeah.
what are your predictions? Next book.
The next book's called
Next book.
Burned.
Next
So
series. Oh, yeah.
what do I think burned means? I would love a Varium focused book now at this point. If we got that, that'd be great. Although I really don't know what we could go deeper in on with him at this point. I guess it could also be, if we have another big time jump, which we might, because we need to see what Morden on the council's doing. I could see we got like a fugitive type thing going on, right? Where everyone's chasing Alex again.
Again.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is see what book that would be book 7 out of
That's book
7 out of
7.
12.
Yeah, we're officially past the halfway point, so I don't know
Yeah.
what that means for overarching plot if we're actually going to get more. I kind of would have loved to see a scenario that pushes Alex closer to Richard. Like I'd love to see that
He has said
break on him.
specifically that he would never join
Yeah.
Richard.
He has.
You
I
know
would
he's not
love.
gonna. There's no way he's gonna do that.
I think you might be happy with this next book that's coming up if that's what
All
you
right. Hey.
like. Maybe not.
Maybe
Do
not.
we get more Hermes? That's the real question.
That is the
That's
real
the
question.
real
We didn't get a lot of her. I expected Hermes to show up more in this.
He
didn't.
got his cold nose
good.
jab in.
Yeah.
That was so funny.
Poor Fox. What do you expect him to do?
I have
Go
wards
up
specifically to
against
prevent
me.
this.
Just give it the end of one more book, and we'll have Alex with his pet fox on the side of the road trying to bum a ride somewhere. Stories are gonna break out into being the Incredible Hulk. That'd be kind of great. A fugitive on the run with clairvoyant
pet fox.
powers and his pet fox. Yeah, I'm sold.
Any more predictions about any of the other characters?
Well, okay. I think we're dealing with the Dark Mage here. I think Chalice is going to maybe start bending Luna a little bit towards her side more. I could see that's another burned thing. I could see Alex and Luna separating a little bit, which would be heartbreaking. I don't want that, but I could see it, especially now that she's getting more powers and might be more easily convinced since she has a teacher that's helping her progress. Annie, go.
I was going to say, are you still shipping Alex and Anne?
I am. Yes, I am. Although Anne's this book was weird because so many people just took a sideline. I don't think that's going to be the case throughout the rest of them, though. I think we're going to start pulling more of it in.
I think that's the proper.
Thanks. Good. No, I don't see Luna and Alex being a thing outside of like their outside of their master apprentice role. Yeah.
Book 2.
Yeah. And Varium, again, kind of hard to say. I still don't ship him and Luna. It's not happening. Yeah, I don't really have much else for the other characters at this point. Caldera, I would love for her to break a little bit on her stances, but we'll see. They have done a couple of times, they have broken the rules and resulted in positive things, and she is yet to change. So it's hard for me to see that any differently. I was really annoyed with Caldera in this book. I'll just say it one more time. I think that's a
join the ranks. Join the ranks, like that's.
This is my peak Caldera. Like I actually do like her in this book because I really do think she's struggling internally, and she's just. I mean, in the end, she gives Alex his auxiliary position. So, speaking of another thing that might cause being burned is something with that, but
yeah,
I honestly don't like. I've read these books so quickly that I don't remember what's in what book. In a lot of cases.
Don't want to do any extra spoilers.
So I'll just stop.
Well, this has been the Green Team of the Legendarium's discussion of Veiled by Benedict Jacka. Please join us on the Legendarium Discord server to continue the discussion. Thanks go to Craig in the Legendarium and Horizon Brave for starting the Green Team. Intro and outro music is Galactic Damages by Jingle Punks. For Chesky, Texas Blade, and Little Red Book, I'm Jingles. Until next time, thanks for listening.
And
Bye.
good one.
Hey, see you later.